Hello, everyone, and welcome to Now Spinning, the official podcast of the Lansing Community College Vinyl Record Club. We meet twice a month to listen to vinyl and talk about music. Stay tuned to learn about how you can get in touch with us and attend our meetings. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Now Spinning. This is our first episode we've recorded since last semester, so we're excited to get back into it. In the room with me today, I have
Noah Miller.
And I am still Simon Medina, as always.
One day you're just not going to be Simon Medina.
And what are we going to do then? Nobody knows.
Who knows?
Who knows? I don't.
But we are on the Weird Disco segment of the last theme that we did. So,
and that was
that
was our meeting on November the 12th of last semester. And this was a very interesting theme. I think people kept to it this time for the most part.
Yeah, it was a little scattered with some things not entirely fitting, but for the most part, we were pretty much in there. Like you mentioned before, some of it, I mean, everyone has a different sense of weird. But maybe some of these just weren't as weird as maybe we were thinking. But there's definitely still some weird stuff in there. And I mean, all of it is just really enjoyable either way. And like we've mentioned on previous episodes, you don't have to stick to the theme.
No.
But we throw those out there for people who are interested. But yeah, I mean, all of it was pretty solid.
And to start our Weird Disco meeting off, of course, we have Simon and Garfunkel, famed disco duo, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And that song was A Most Peculiar Man off of Sounds of Silence. Not at all disco, I'll be honest with you. I might have lied a little, but it's still an interesting song.
This was a most peculiar song indeed. It's about a guy like just kind of taking his own life and just kind of acting sort of I don't want to say like pathetically, but he is just not a nice person to be around. And so he, just kind of keeps everything or like seals off his apartment and turns the stove on and basically just goes to sleep and doesn't wake up. So, yeah, there's that.
Yeah, it's a good, interesting start to the disco meeting for Simon and Garfunkel, I guess. It's a good album. I like this album, though.
Yeah. And then it leads into the proper start of our disco session with I Feel Love by Donna Summer. Not really a whole lot to say for me personally on this track. I don't have much familiarity with Donna, really.
It's a good song, though. We love this song.
Yeah, no, we can dig it.
Fantastic. But following that one up, however, there is a song that I might have played this one, but it's a very good song, and that is Found a Job by Talking Heads. I'm going to try to keep this one brief since we did do a whole episode just about this band. But I tried to think about weird disco, and Talking Heads is kind of disco adjacent at times. This song, I think, is definitely leans in towards it just with the drum beat and everything.
Yeah, everything kind of generally a lot of stuff that Talking Heads material kind of sticks to that four on the floor. Very, like solid, like just danceable beat behind it. Everything is just, a pretty consistent tempo wise.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, even when you get into like their Stranger, like Remain in Light stuff, like it's really there's not really a lot of like time signature changes. It's really just Chris Franz, the drummer, my goat. I love that man. Just playing the same drum beat the whole time. Well, there's a lot of really crazy percussion stuff happening around him, but he's keeping it going though. That's good.
Got that foundation in there.
And this song I like a lot because the story of this song is two people getting upset about what they see on television and just making their own show, which I thought was kind of fun. It's an interesting topic for a song, but Talking Heads, they've done weirder stuff.
Fair enough. And then we got some LCD sound system here with 4533.
Okay, so this song, I understand that this wasn't the intention of it, but it still fills me with visceral rage that the song is called 4533, but the runtime for this song is in fact 4604. Now, I mean, I get that they were trying to do like 45 RPM, 33 RPM, like a record. That's fun. That's interesting, but you couldn't have shaved like 30 seconds off the song just to just to fit it all in there. But like,
Just make it work, Spotify.
I don't know. I can blame. I guess I blame LCD Sound System.
Oh,
but
you're blaming LC.
I'll blame whoever put it on, whoever's idea it was, to be like. So how long's the song going to be? 46 minutes.
Defeats the whole point.
I don't think we didn't play this whole song. I don't think we played 3 minutes of it, but it was a good 3 minutes. I do like this song a lot. Yeah. I haven't listened to the whole thing, obviously, because 46 minutes long, but they're a band that I definitely want to get into.
I threw this playlist on in my car, and when this one came on, it just kind of kept going and going and going and going, and I was like, man, this is a pretty long song. This is going to take up the entire drive.
Yeah, right. And then some.
There might be other things I want to listen to, but no, this was cool. I as just kind of like a soundscape, like a lot of disco generally tends to be, I'm finding throughout this playlist, is that it's more so just like a soundscape, something to kind of be in the background while you're just kind of dancing along. It's dance music essentially.
That's what it is. That's the core.
Yeah, yeah. But so then we go into "Tell Me Lover" by Wayne Zielinski,
and that is a local band. I found out.
Yeah. They are from Lansing, Michigan. So shout out. This was a pretty nice, laid back, kind of atmospheric, this kind of spacey sort of track here. But yeah.
And then following that one up, we have a. Black Sedan by Charlie Crockett. This one, not disco, not country disco, rock, but yeah. we can take it. We appreciate all kinds of music here.
Yeah, no,
even on Weird Disco Day.
Yeah, no, this was one that I actually came back to a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, it's just kind of nice, smooth, slick, but not like greasy slick.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, no, it's cool.
I put this album on my list of albums I have to get to somewhere on there, so I definitely want to check this this guy out.
Yeah.
And then moving on, we have Wide Awake by Parquet Courts. This is another band that I really want to get. I'm really interested in because this is a great song. It's what they call dance punk, I think, is like the genre for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's like the pots and pans kind of sound of the percussion in the background, kind of filling out, the drum beat, the solid drum beat there. But yeah, no, that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those songs where it's it's not quite like a disco song because disco has like this. Obviously, it's very polished, very like I don't want to say like just very clean.
Yeah,
but like the dance punk stuff that kind of it takes like the drum beat of it, like the whole danceability of it, but really it strips away all the polish and the production for it, and it's just
it takes the musicality of like disco and like the compositional elements of it, but then applies this sort of like punk veneer to it,
right,
to kind of adapt it to that.
Yeah, good song. You have to check this band out.
Yeah. And then we have Divine with "You Think You're a Man." This is one that I kind of keep coming back to. Just the chorus is like super catchy. The really dramatic, like almost He-Man-esque like vocals in the background. That's just what it makes me think of. But yeah, no, this was a very fun one.
I like this one as well. It's a good song. You said everything I wanted to say about it, though. It's a good one, though.
Okay, right.
Fantastic. And then we're taking another disco detour, I think. Detour away from disco with The Who. Was this Cobwebs and Strange? I'm not really sure what to make of this one.
Yeah, it's kind of a head scratcher.
I don't know if it's quite a song as much as it's just creepy. A lot of interesting sound effects.
It does have a melody to it.
It does. It's in there. Oh God, yeah.
All on the recorders and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's interesting experimental '60s stuff.
Yeah, that was certainly a detour there.
No, yeah, not very disco-y though. And then moving on from that was this Black Page #2 by Frank Zappa. I think you're familiar with this one.
Yeah. This is one that I brought in. I didn't end up playing it in the meeting there, but the intro part where he's kind of introducing the track. He's got this on the bass there, and he's like, so we're setting this up with this disco type vamp here. So I figured it was fairly appropriate, but this is an adaptation of an earlier piece of music. He goes through the whole story in the intro to the song before they actually start playing. But it was a drum solo, and then he decided to add a melody to it. And the thing about this piece is that there's a bunch of like weird, all of it is at a steady 4/4, 60 beats per minute. But the subdivisions between those beats, they're called tuplets. So those are usually like groups of 3, 5, 7, any odd number of beats there, or anything that's not really like a power of 2.
Right.
Like 2, 4, 6, or 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, like that. And then there's also nested tuplets. So within a triplet, he might say that the second beat of this triplet is actually a group of 5. So it'll be like da 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 da, or something like that. There's just weird rhythmic stuff all over, like the drum solo, the part 1. And then part 2, he is like, well, I wanted to make it, a little bit more accessible to people who couldn't approach its statistical density. And so he creates this one, and there's still like crazy tuplet stuff, but he kind of stretches some things out, maybe compresses certain things, and just overall rocks it out a little bit more. Adds a little bit more distortion to stuff, and it's just crazy and just all over the place rhythmic wise, but everything is still kind of like everything is there. But yeah, it's just really off the wall.
Oh yeah, one of these days we'll do like a Frank Zappa deep dive that's like 5 episodes long.
Right, yeah. The whatever, like 60 albums that he produced.
Yeah, something like that.
And then like the 50 posthumous ones.
Right. And I've listened to like 5 of them. Right.
But some of the posthumous ones are actually pretty cool. The Transfusion one was really cool. It's all instrumental stuff of solos from around his career. But that was really cool. But back onto the Weird Disco playlist here. We have You Are Smart by Katamari Damacy, or the sound team for that one. Is this a game soundtrack?
Yeah, that's the game soundtrack for that is this game. I haven't played it very much, but I've listened to the soundtrack a couple times. It's very interesting. It's very fascinating. Yeah. I think that aesthetically speaking, I think the soundtrack for this game is as perfect as you can get. Yeah. To relating to the content of the game itself. That's all I have to say about it. Okay. It's very good. Fun game too. If I've played it, the little bit I played of it, I enjoyed it a lot.
Nice. But this one was just it's kind of like the background music for like a video game there.
Yeah. Okay, and then moving on to another disco song, we have "The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald,"
our favorite disco song
by Gordon Lightfoot. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Gordon
the goat.
Lightfoot.
He's my goat. I love this man.
Yeah, and then it was also this meeting took place 2 days after the anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Right, which is that's why I brought it in. I figured we have to commemorate somehow.
Yeah, and what was weird is that I hadn't really had much of a connection to this song when I was first listening to it, but then coming back to it, it's like, oh man, I'm actually getting like heavy chested here. It's
exactly.
It's about to make me tear up. Dude.
Yeah, I mean, if you grow up in Michigan, you're gonna hear this song every year of your entire life, and at some point, a lot of people get tired of it. That's not me. I can't get tired of this song. It's such a beautiful piece of music. It's meaningful. People don't make songs that are just like a retelling of like horrific events that happened as much as they used to. This was like in the tradition of like folk like that. This is like kind of, I don't want to say it's not modern obviously, but it's like one of the more recent versions of that where it's going in detail about this kind of thing. But And like that's the thing about the song, like it's just retelling this like horrible story, but like it's like musically it's so good. It's such a good song.
It's dude, it just like the orchestration, instrumentation, the arrangement of it.
Right.
Just like when they bring in like the arpeggiated synths and
Oh,
stuff in the
that's so good.
background, and you know the drums, and just it just everything about it just like sends chills. It just builds it up so nicely. Just execution is amazing.
That steel guitar, also I love that a lot.
Yeah,
that bit.
Yeah.
Like that, like not like it's a solo, but like the riff. I don't know what you call it. I'm not a music theory person. You could help me out with this.
The slide up there.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Such a good song. Oh man, this whole album, by the way. I know you've talked. I know this is a great song, but I also have to shout out the whole album, which is called "Summertime Dream." If you like this song, or if you're just like a fan of like folk in general, like folk rock, you will definitely get a lot out of this album. It's every song is good. I think there's not a skip on here.
Gordon Lightfoot is a good place to start for the folk, like kind of more modern.
Not
modern, but
I know what you mean.
Semi-modern,
70s folk stuff, like folk rock anyway. Yeah, this album, and then I think there's another one by him. It's one that has Sundown on it. I do not remember the name of it. I think it might just be called Sundown, but that is also a really good album.
Yeah.
So Gordon Lightfoot deep dive coming soon. Don't you worry. Oh man.
And then we have the Kills with Last Day of Magic. Again, not necessarily disco, but kind of like a garage rock, garage punk kind of thing there. It just very catchy. The guitar riff, the chorus there. Just super cool production on it too.
Mm-hmm. That's a good song.
And then we have I Am a Disco Dancer by VJ Benedict.
Yeah, this was off of a compilation of Bollywood disco from, like, I think the 70s and 80s, obviously. I have been trying to track down where this album came from on, like, streaming or anything. It's kind of a miracle that I was even able to find the song at all to put on the playlist here. But it's a interesting song.
Nice.
It's interesting. The place in history, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Because like I think this one, at least some of the songs were like, you know, from like the early '80s, which was kind of like the post disco here. But I'm not sure how prolific it was outside of America. I'm not really sure if that lasted any longer overseas or something.
As far as overseas, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, there was like the whole revolt in like the 70s.
Oh gosh.
The whole like there was like a baseball game or like some kind of like sporting event where people like threw a bunch of records onto the field or something like that.
Yeah, they had a big just I don't want to say like cult meeting, but that's kind of the vibes it gives me, where they all took all their disco records and they just burned them in the middle of the field.
Something like that.
And like, you know, that's just all about the backlash to disco back then. And it's, you know, looking back on it now, it's just absurd.
It just is so overreaction. Just a big overreaction on that.
It's just, you know, it's like the stigma that disco had with it back then, you know, that like it's like part of like gay culture and that kind of thing. I feel like that's definitely part of why they really part of why they were upset about it. It's just
I haven't looked into it enough to really comment on that, but I can definitely see that, but I don't want to like say that that's it. But
yeah, I mean it was just generally people middle class Americans, I guess, did not enjoy disco as much as people, you know, did not enjoy it very much, wanted to get rid of it. But you look at now and you see how many like new artists are like heavily influenced by like, you know, 70s disco stuff. And you have to think like who won in the end there, you know?
Right. Yeah. There's like just kind of the smoother like R&B stuff that's like kind of downstream of disco and stuff like that. And yeah, just I mean, Wolfpack, they are bringing that back especially. And they literally have a track called Disco Ulysses, and it's just super funky, super catchy, just. Yeah, it's just great.
That's a good band. I like Wolfpack a lot.
Yeah, and yeah, Viva la Disco.
Viva la Disco.
Yeah. So we have Take a Chance by Mr. Flagio. Again, more of kind of like a background disco track. Not a whole lot going on, but still enjoyable nonetheless.
Yeah, this one. I mean, I don't think there was a bad song played at this meeting.
No, there was not.
Usually, that you like obviously any record club meeting. I don't think that it's very rare where someone plays like a song that like is like everybody agrees is awful. Like I don't think there's a single song that I've heard played that I'm not like I can't get some kind of enjoyment out of.
Yeah.
You know, I think people. You know, we welcome everybody who has anybody. You know, like I said, anybody who has a interest in music at all. You know, you're welcome to come in and share that with us. You know, we don't judge at all, and like. There's not much to judge anyway because people here have really good music taste.
Yeah, yeah, right. and you get to mingle with people who. I mean, there was a recent one where we someone was like right after my song, and I was like, oh yes, dude, like oh dude, we're playing this, yes.
I think I missed that meeting, but
yeah, this last one.
We'll talk about that sometime. Don't you worry.
Yeah,
don't you worry. But. Anyway, after I said that there's no songs that I think are bad, here's a song that I don't think it's bad. It's just unfortunate. We have
Unfortunate.
Here Comes the Night by the Beach Boys. But and this was a 1979 disco remake of a 1967 R&B track they did, which is also called Here Comes the Night. I don't know where to start with this song. This band, one recurring theme, if you have any knowledge about this band's history, is that they are very good at making really bad decisions financially and musically. Like, they have a giant vault of unreleased music that's better than the stuff they put out. But
really?
For some reason, they decided a little bit late in the game that they were going to try and get on the disco trend. And this was in their very late in their career when they were kind of falling off again after they had kind of had a brief comeback in the late 70s.
And they still weren't really. Did they like each other at that point?
Oh, they hated it. They all hated each other, but they were related, so they couldn't break the band up, essentially. And they decided that this would be the way forward would be to make a disco song, but nobody could really come up with a new disco song, so they decided to go back to their 1967 Wild Honey album, which shout out to the Wild Honey album, great record, great like R&B soul kind of thing, very laid back. Anyway, they took a song from that album called Here Comes the Night and stretched it out for 10 minutes and basically added every single cheesy disco effect you could imagine onto this. There's like monkey noises in here for some reason, like halfway through, and I don't even know where to start with this track. There's just so much going on, but like it's just like chaotic. I mean, it's obviously just like it's a disco song, so like you can put it on in the background and dance to it, but you'll just kind of stop sometimes and be like, "Was that like a? Why are they putting sound effects in this? What's the goal here?
What am I hearing?"
Right. And then, I remember I watched it. I listened to concert recordings from around this time. And they announced like we're gonna play a song off our new album, everybody, and they start playing the disco beat. And like the one concert recording I listened to, this guy just starts screaming, like, booing really loudly next to the cameraman, and he's like, "All right," and like Mike Love, obviously the frontman, he's like, "All right, guys, settle down. We're just gonna play this one, and then we'll get right back to the other music." That's just and the worst thing about this like not like the song's fine, it's disco, but like. The worst thing about that is just the timing. Is this came out in 1979, which was like right at the peak of the disco backlash.
Yeah.
And of course, the Beach Boys decided that was the perfect time to hop on the disco train.
Man,
bless their hearts.
Man, the stars really aligned to create this track, didn't they?
They do. The stars usually aligned to screw the Beach Boys over in some way or another. That's just how it goes. But. I could talk more about this, but I don't think that anybody needs to hear that.
Yeah, we have a couple more songs.
Oh, do we?
We've got "Disco Baby" by Van McCoy. I'm not entirely familiar with this one. I think I was probably talking to someone else while this was in.
Yeah, this is a good song. This one, Van McCoy, he's obviously like the song everybody knows him for is "The Hustle," and that song, that's one of the biggest disco songs ever. Like everybody's heard "The Hustle," even if you think you haven't heard it. If somebody played it for you, you'd probably be like, "Oh no, yeah, I've heard that one before." But beyond his one hit, this is actually like I listened to this song and I actually really liked it. Like this guy is a very talented like arranger musician.
Nice.
In general. Like he made a couple other albums. I think he I think he might have. I don't know if it was jazz, but I think he did like a kind of like a world music album at one point where he was kind of like getting influences from. Yeah, the album's just called Rhythms of the World. There's like a lot of just like Africa and India and all kinds of stuff. He was getting music from everywhere for that one, but
Okay, nice.
I do want to read into this guy more. He seems like an interesting character. A lot of those like one-hit wonder people definitely have like
Right.
fascinating stories behind them once you get into it.
Yeah, like I didn't do a super deep dive into them, but with Loverboy, Working for the Weekend, I looked at the other songs on that album, and it was like, oh no, I can see why this one was the hit.
Yeah. No, yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
That happens a lot actually, but
I mean, no shame to Loverboy.
No,
no. They were doing great stuff, but yeah.
yeah, but I mean, a lot of bands are interesting. Like the one hit they have is like they're like a really weird, like a lot of really weird bands will like accidentally make like a really popular commercial single,
Right. Yeah.
and they just got to live with that. But I feel like this is all of this guy's music is I think it's I don't want to say it's like there's nothing really weird, but that's not a bad thing. That's not a dig or anything.
Right.
It's
yeah,
all good.
No.
And then of course our last song, the grand finale.
Sesame Street Fever.
Oh boy.
This was actually a really fun closer. I forget the guy's name who brought it in, but no, I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, we're getting down.
Right. This song. The Sesame Street Fever album. This is one of those dollar bin greatest hits where like you go to like any record store and you go into like their dollar bin or their free bin. You're gonna find this one floating around in there. I think everybody's grandma, if they have a record collection, this thing's lurking around in there somewhere. Either this or just Saturday Night Fever or both of them.
Or like a Disney vinyl, like Jacob, another member of the group has.
Yeah,
he's got like a Disney disco thing that he brought in. He didn't play anything off of it, but he showed it to me at his place one time. But
no, I remember. I know what you're talking
great.
about.
Yeah.
I've seen that. It's a terrifying
it was like, this
stuff.
is surprisingly good. This is actually like really cool.
He did play a little. I remember he played a little bit for us. I think I was there as well. But yeah, it was interesting. It was an interesting time for music. Like that big brief period where like disco was like the biggest genre, so everybody was kind of jumping on it. Even the Muppets, it would appear.
Yeah.
And then this album apparently,
the Muppets are different from Sesame Street.
I'm sorry, I don't. Forgive me. This isn't the
Good
LCC Muppet podcast. That's not my area. I'm very sorry to the Muppets. I apologize. And this song is interesting because on it is also Robin Gibb of the Bee Gees, so you get the real disco experience from an expert.
The strings and everything.
Oh yeah,
the chord progression. When I heard this, it was like, this is such an authentic.
I feel like it's
representation of disco. This is really cool.
It's in its pure disco in its purest form. Sesame Street Fever. If there's one album you listen to today after listening to this podcast. Make it Sesame Street Fever.
That's your recommendation.
My recommendation. I'm surprised nobody
right
brought
on.
in Saturday Night Fever. I felt like that was going to be a given because that one's everybody's got that one. If you're like I said, it's if your grandma has records, if your grandparents, they have that one. That's in there somewhere. I know that mine did. That's when I got my grandma's old records. Saturday Night Fever was hanging out in there. It's everybody's got one. I swear.
Nice,
but. That does about wrap it up for today. Closing out with Sesame Street. It's probably the best ending we've had for an episode so far. But
indeed. But yeah.
If I'll close this out then. All right. If you're interested at all in coming to any of our meetings, and maybe we'll play more weird disco, maybe not. We'll see. Everybody is welcome, whether you're a student, staff, or a member of the community. You're welcome to come on in and share your music with us. Whether you've been collecting for your entire life and you have 1,000 records in your collection, or you have never bought one before, but you're just curious about expanding your musical tastes and hanging out with other people who music appreciators. There is no better place for it. I think it's a great group of people, very welcoming, very friendly.
I agree.
All kinds of music are welcome. No matter how weird you think it is, there's going to be somebody in the club I think who will appreciate it.
No matter how on topic you are.
Exactly. But yeah, thank everybody for watching. Yeah.
Oh, we got cameras in.
We got cameras. Yeah. So,
Thank
Thanks.
you everyone for watching, and I should let Simon close.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in and now spinning. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.